On June 1, 2009, Air France 447 flight took off from Rio de Janeiro to Paris. But this flight would end in one of the world's most horrifying aviation disasters. 228 people lost their lives in this tragic event, and for years, the real cause remained a mystery. What happened? Why did the plane crash? Was it a pilot error, or were there other factors at play? Today, we're going to uncover what really happened with Air France 447. Are you ready? Air France 447 was an Airbus A330 aircraft. As the flight progressed over the Atlantic Ocean, there were some initial issues that the crew didn't immediately notice. As the hours went by, the aircraft's flight computer started giving false information due to a malfunction in the sensors. The pilots, unaware of the growing problem, continued their duties as usual. Meanwhile, the weather worsened. No one realized that these minor warnings would eventually lead to a catastrophic disaster. As the plane flew over the ocean, the weather conditions became increasingly severe. Entering into storm clouds, the aircraft began experiencing a series of technical failures. The speed indicators stopped functioning correctly. This caused a situation where the flight crew was unable to get accurate readings of the aircraft's speed. This posed a dangerous risk for the plane. The pilots unknowingly allowed the aircraft to lose speed, putting them in a perilous situation. Before it was too late, the aircraft's loss of speed became an even greater risk. However, the pilots, confused by the incorrect data, didn't recognize the situation until it was already too late. The flight director and the co-pilots experienced a communication breakdown. With the storm raging, the system failures led to the pilots making critical mistakes in their decisions. Eventually, Air France 447 lost speed and began to descend rapidly. The plane started falling toward the ocean. The pilots fought desperately to recover control of the aircraft, but they ran out of time. The plane crashed into the Atlantic Ocean at high speed, killing all 228 people aboard. The entire world was shocked. Many people couldn't comprehend how such a tragedy could happen in modern aviation, a time when air travel was considered incredibly safe. The investigation into the crash of Air France 447 revealed that the primary cause of the disaster was the flight crew's inability to make the correct decisions under pressure, combined with faulty data. Experts determined that the aircraft's speed indicators had failed due to icing, but the pilots did not notice this early enough to prevent the crash. This was the main contributing factor. Another key element was that the flight crew was undertrained for handling such severe weather conditions and the system's failure during the flight. The crash of Air France 447 led to significant changes in aviation safety. In the years following the disaster, pilot training programs were overhauled, new technologies were developed to ensure the aircraft's speed indicators functioned properly, and pilots were given more extensive training to deal with these kinds of situations. In the wake of the crash, aviation safety around the world was significantly improved, and much more emphasis was placed on improving communication between flight crews and on decision-making during crises. This became a turning point in aviation. Air France 447 wasn't just a tragedy, it was also a learning opportunity. Air France 447 will go down in history as one of the most horrifying aviation disasters. However, the lessons learned from this tragedy have led to substantial improvements in flight safety worldwide. When technology, training, and decision-making skills come together properly, it's possible to prevent such accidents in the future. So, what do you think? Was this tragedy caused simply by incorrect data and insufficient training, or was there more to it? The lessons learned from this crash have impacted aviation in ways we can't ignore. If you've watched until the end, you've uncovered the true story behind Air France 447. Now, Continue thinking about flight safety and consider what innovations could prevent tragedies like this from ever happening again.